Hello everyone, and welcome to TEC Sojourns, which is broadcast on the Education Channel, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Philippine time. Remember, please subscribe and follow TEC on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Now, I'm Steve, and I will be your host in this first TEC Sojourn episode. If you watched my interview with April last time, then you would know that I've lived in Yokohama, Japan for many years. So in this first episode, I'd like to take you on a short tour of my home here in Yokohama, just to give you an idea of some of the features that you would find in a typical Japanese living space. So if you're ready, let's get started. Hello everyone. I'm standing right now just near my front door where I live. Now, I live in a mansion. Now, before you get all excited and start thinking, oh, Steve's very rich and Steve lives in a huge home. No, in Japan, mansion just means condominium building. So I live in a condo. And in fact, my condo unit is pretty small, about 67 square meters. So definitely it's not the English version of the word mansion. It's very Japanese. Anyway, let's have a look, and I'm going to show you a few features that make it kind of a little bit typical Japanese home. Okay, so if you're ready, let's start. Okay, so here is my front door, and we're going to go inside. Now, right now, we're standing in the Genkan. So the Genkan is, if you like, the entrance, or usually translated as entry pit or vestibule. And the idea of pit is kind of interesting because all Genkan or entryways have a little step that you can see right there where you step up into the main part of the home. Now, Genkan is interesting because Genkan is two Chinese characters, Gen and Kan. And Gen means basically profound mystery, and Kan means entranceway. And traditionally, Genkan were found only in Buddhist temples. And the idea was that when monks entered into the temple, they were leaving behind the kind of normal everyday Monday world and going into an area or a space of profound mystery. So that's the idea of Genkan. Now, it was a little bit later that Genkan started appearing in traditional Japanese homes as well. Now, the main purpose of a Genkan is basically to take your shoes off, for guests and for people who live there to take their shoes off before going inside. Because I'm sure, as you know, the Japanese don't wear shoes inside their homes. So basically all Genkan have a, as you can see here, a shoe cupboard, right? And a cupboard for umbrellas. You can see we have quite a collection of umbrellas because it does rain a lot in Japan. Okay? A Genkan also normally, has a coat rack for people to put their coats and for guests and others, and a ledge that is often ornamented with traditional Japanese pictures or paintings. And as you can see, we have our lovely guy here that is to protect our home, and a good luck ball. And because this is the new year of the tiger, we have our little tiger, our lovely little Zen monk who protects us, and our little mini Zen garden. What you'll also notice is that we have a noren, which is this kind of cloth hanging with a slit in the middle that is used traditionally to separate rooms or to keep rooms from drafts, to keep them cool or to keep them warm. That's a noren. And traditional design of this noren, ours, is, as you can see, dragonflies. Okay, so let's go into the house, or mansion, I should say. And our next stop, maybe you recognize that cloth from the Cordillera region of the Philippines. But the next stop is going to be what I call the Marine Sanctuary, commonly referred to as the toilet, but you'll see in a minute why I call it the Marine Sanctuary, and I'm very proud of it. So I'll give you a nice little look of our Marine Sanctuary. And I'm sure you recognize that place from the Philippines. So you probably get an idea of my passion in life. In fact, it's the water, and my passion is scuba diving. But this is not why I want to show you the toilet. What I want to show you is typical Japanese high-tech toilet. Okay? Now, very efficient. What you'll notice first of all is that at the top of the toilet is a kind of tap or faucet, and when it flushes, as I'll do now, water runs. And so it's very efficient for washing hands when you use the toilet, and it saves water. Very clever, the Japanese. But most special is the high-tech box. Now, typically Japanese toilets, as I'm sure you probably know, are very high-tech. And in this toilet, we can use small flush or eco flush, a little bit bigger if you need it, and big flush when you need it. Also, this toilet has a jet stream coming out of it when you use the toilet, and you can control how strong the jet stream is and the exact location, as you can see in the pictures. You can also control the water power and temperature, and you can warm up the seat of the toilet as well. So very, very special. It makes using the toilet quite pleasurable. But one little tip that could be useful: when you are bending over the toilet to wash it occasionally, be careful which button you push, or you might get a face full of water. Okay? So that's the marine sanctuary. Next stop in our little tour is going to be the ofuro, or bath. Now, this is a very, very typical Japanese bath. And what you'll notice is, first of all, the bath itself is rather short and rather deep. And that's so that people can really fully immerse up to their neck and soak in a nice, long, relaxing way. What else you notice is this kind of cover. And what this is used for is when the bath is filled, the cover is rolled over like that all the way to keep the water hot. Because normally in the traditional Japanese bath etiquette, what happens is that people wash completely with soap and water outside of the bath first. Then when they're already clean, they get in the bath and soak for relaxation. What else you'll notice is the stool and the bucket and the pail. And that's because, traditionally Japanese people normally sit when they have a bath, and the shower head is rather low, and they kind of pour water over themselves. But also you can take a normal shower by putting the shower head up there. Notice? This is not typically Japanese. This is typically Steve. Okay, so that's the ofuro. Now, next stop, I want to show you something in the kitchen. This is a rather, normal, typical Western style kitchen, but what I want to show you is the rubbish bins for trash, because everywhere in Japan, it's rather strict. You have to sort out and separate different types of trash for kind of recycling. And it's different in different areas, but in Yokohama, what we have to do is we have to separate here, which is normal, everyday, what we call moeru gomi, which is burnable, normal, everyday household trash. We have here only plastic. So we're only allowed to put plastic here, and at the bottom, cans and bottles. And then one more, we have to separate out cardboard and paper. So basically 4 things that we have to separate. And in many areas of Japan, different types of gomi or trash are collected on different days of the week. So residents have to be quite careful in how and when they put out their trash or gomi. Okay, so that's trash or gomi collection. Very typically Japanese. Okay, next stop. Now, first of all, you'll notice that, these are very sort of typically, this is my home, very typically kind of Western style rooms. But we have one room in our house that is Japanese style. So basically, Japanese homes have 2 types of rooms. They have yoshitsu, which means Western style room, which is, normal Western style flooring and furniture, etc. And washitsu, which means Japanese style room. And the main thing that makes it a Japanese style room is, as you can probably notice, the tatami mat covering the floor. So traditionally, Japanese homes were only tatami. However, nowadays, basically when new homes are built, often they don't have any tatami or washitsu rooms at all, or maximum only one. We really, really like tatami, and so we were happy to have this washitsu room. Now, let me tell you a little bit about tatami. Tatami is made from rice straw, and traditionally it's handmade. But these days, actually, it's often machine made. And in terms of the size, tatami is basically twice as long as it is wide. So what you can see here is a very standard, typical size of tatami. Now, the size of tatami rooms are normally described in terms of the number of mats that cover the floor. So as you can count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this would be described as a rokujo washitsu, or 6-mat room, because there are 6 mats covering the floor. It's quite a standard size room in a home. So the other features that are common to washitsu, or Japanese style rooms, are, first of all, the fusuma, or sliding doors. All tatami style rooms have sliding doors, not doors that open in and out. So as you can see here, right, the doors easily slide. Now, the other feature of a tatami room is the cupboard, which you're looking at now. Now, before I tell you what's in the cupboard, I should also tell you that this room is our bedroom. So you're probably thinking, bedroom. Okay, so where's the bed? Well, I'm sure you've watched enough movies, and you know enough to know that Japanese traditionally sleep on futon, on the floor. So the cupboard is used to store the futon, which I will show you now. So here are our futon, and each set has 2 items. So you can see the kind of foam padding that goes directly on the tatami, and then on top of that is the actual futon. And so you can see here we have 2 sets, one set here and one set here. So 2 futons. And then on the bottom shelf, we have our pillows and our blankets and our quilts. So that is our tatami washitsu room. Now, I should also tell you, there are a couple of pluses and minuses about living with tatami. The big plus, I think, for most people is you've got all this space that you can use in the daytime. Right? You've basically got a whole extra room that you can use when the futons are stored in the cupboard to do so you can see here, right? This is where my little gym, I do my exercises. You can do yoga, play music, whatever. So you've got all this space. The other big plus is that tatami, of course, looks lovely. It's relaxing. It's kind of soft. It's easy to clean, and it smells lovely. So those are big pluses. Now, the minuses are the obvious minus is that, every evening I've got to put the futons out, and every morning put them away. So it can be, a little bit tiring to do that every day. And I have to confess to you that occasionally, not too often, but occasionally I get a bit lazy. If I know I'm going to be out all day, I might just leave the futons out in the morning. But, those, it's not too bad. But the other little minus of tatami is that little microscopic insects called mites, or in Japanese, dani, love tatami. And quite a lot of people are allergic to dani because they bite and they give rashes. So if you're very allergic to dani, you need to go to the supermarket and buy kind of insecticide stuff to kill them, or get somebody to come in and fumigate and kill them every so often. Now, couple little fun facts about tatami is that most people replace their tatami, I'd say every maybe 5 to 7 years, where they will get new tatami to replace the old. And when you order or get new tatami, basically the only thing you have to choose is the cloth edging, the color and the pattern. And so you can see that what we have is green with a rather simple, elegant pattern. But you can get them, the edging, in lots of different colors and patterns, depending on what other furnishings you have in your home. And what's interesting as well is that when you get new tatami, it's actually green. And then in the first several months, up to a year or so, it starts gradually turning more natural beige color. And so this is the color of our tatami, which we've had now for maybe around 3 years or so. So this is kind of what it looks like normally after a little bit of time. Okay, one more stop on our tour. I'm going to show you the balcony, because my lovely balcony of plants and my exercise bike. But what I want to show you, which is very typically Japanese, is the built-in laundry pole. Basically, every apartment, every home, every condo in Japan has this kind of laundry pole where you can have it down when you're not using it and have it up when you are using it. And you just take the pole and you just hang it wherever you want, in whichever, however close or far away or how high you want it, and you hang your washing on the pole. Now, most people in Japan these days, of course, they have washing machines, but I think very, very often they don't have separate dryers. So it's still very, very common for people to dry their clothes on their balcony, and that's what the laundry pole is for. So that's the tour. So I'm going to leave you with one more very Japanese, very lovely feature of my mansion. And that is, are you ready? Mount Fuji. You are getting a lovely view of snow-covered Mount Fuji. And this is the view we get every morning, and particularly beautiful for every sunset. A view of majestic, lovely Mount Fuji. Thank you for joining this first sojourn of my home here in Yokohama. I hope you enjoyed it, and I also hope you learned something new about typical Japanese living space. Please tune in next Thursday at 8 p.m. for another episode of TEC Sojourns. And once again, please don't forget to follow and subscribe to TEC on all of your social media, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Right. So until next time, Inga ka and sige na.